All right, everyone, I'm gonna do our School of Music camera pack breakdown. And so I'll do a little basics, and then later on in the video I'll get into some more specifics. So as you can see here, we've got all the materials and supplies you'll need for good recording. So this is our recording pack, which should have 2 cameras, and then the microphones, and then a whole bunch of mounts, accessories, charging things. This is our lights, which I'll show you the label later. We've got 2 sets of these, so 4 in total. We've got 2 reels of 50-foot extension cord, so 4 in total. And then we've got this kind of hub. And then we've actually got 4 of these microphone cables, but you'll only need 2. And then this big black duffel bag, which has some camera stands and some other things in it. So now we'll get it all set up. So the first thing we'll set up are the cameras. We're only gonna set up one today, but obviously we have 2. This is in the black duffel bag. This is one of our camera tripods. So it comes out, all the legs click out, get them in lock position, then you can undo those to get the height you need. And you can also adjust this up and down from here. Next, we're going to take off the camera mount. So we're going to unscrew this portion, and that gives us a clip. You can see that it's got a little spinny on the back and then the screw on the front. So this is going to go on our main camera. The main camera is the one with the handle on it, and you'll see why in a moment. So you're simply going to screw this on to the bottom. And then remount it on here, utilizing this little spinner to lock it in. Now it won't move around on us, so that's good to go. Next, let's talk about how to use, we're just gonna get stuff set up and then we'll talk about how to use it. If there's no battery, first of all, we have big batteries and small batteries. Make sure that they're charged. We'll talk about that as well. The battery is simply going to slip into the back. So it goes here and then straight up, and it clicks into place. To remove it, there's just a little latch down here. Push it forward, and this slides right out. Next, we're going to set up our microphone stand. So that's this bad boy. Legs come out, so undo that. Goes down, then these all flange out. And then this part, I'm going to try to make sure that everything's in the video. This part you're just adjusting with this screw. You can make it go forward and back with these 2 mounts. You can also raise and lower with this grip, up and down like that. All right, to mount the microphones, you need to take this box out. And then we've got these 2 clamps for the mics. In the case, we're going to find this mount. We're going to put the mount on so that these knobs are facing downward, and it simply screws on. And then you're going to screw these on. Next, take your mics. You're just going to put these in here, shove them on. Same thing here. And then if you need, if you're doing an outside event, you can put the windscreen on the front and just put it on like that. Boom. But since we're inside, we don't need that right now. Next, so to hook this up, take your cables. There's little Velcros to make sure that they're all nice and orderly. And you're going to plug into the mic, make sure it clicks. So after you've plugged in both microphones, then you just want to check a couple settings on the side of this. So to get in a little closer so that we can see it, There we go. Hopefully you can see that once I'm plugged in, I want to use this, so I want to make sure that this is on the on setting. And then for these microphones, we want these switches on the left side to be at mic plus 48V. And then what you're going to do is do your loudest section of your piece, and what you're going to find is that you can read here how loud things are, and I'm tapping on the mic over here. And so if you find that it's getting close to that 0 when you look back in your recording, you want to turn it down. So how you turn down the audio is you just use these. So you find a point where usually you're going to want them pretty even next to each other. Use the white line as the reference. Use the white line as a reference, but you can turn these down or up if you have a really soft instrument, or if you're recording really far away and need a little bit more volume or gain in your mix to help capture everything. All right, so next we've got the camera setup, we've got the mic set up into the camera. Obviously the other camera doesn't have this on it, and that's because we're not plugging any mics into it. It's just going to capture audio from the regular camera's microphone so that you can sync it up later. So super easy on that. All right, next let's just talk a little bit about getting some good settings for recording. So you can use the automatic feature right there. You can see it says auto, and then it says M for manual. If you don't want to mess with stuff, just set it to auto. It's decent. It will change depending on your lighting. So if you want a good consistent lighting, what you want to do is switch that to manual. And then you're going to go into your menu, which you can press the button right there. And then under menu, you're going to go into the little picture format. And then you can change things like the resolution. So probably want to lower the resolution from the top one to 1920 by 1080. Get out of there. What we can also do is go under function, and this is where you're going to be able to control your light. So go under plus and minus and exposure. And if you need a little lighter, go that way, a little darker that way. A lot of times just setting it in the middle is going to be good, and then you can go back later in your video editing software and edit it. You can also do a couple other things, white balances, some other stuff. Really the big one is that plus or minus with the exposure composition that it has set there, making sure that that's where you want it, and making sure that it doesn't go brighter and darker throughout your video, just so it stays nice and even. So then to record, you can just press record numerous ways. You can press this button here, you can press it up here, and there's actually a way to do over here. You can also zoom in and zoom out with this button up here, this little toggle. You can also, with your hand on it, zoom in and out with this toggle switch as well. Lastly, a couple other things about the camera. First of all, if you'd like to get the this little viewfinder out, you can pull that out and angle it up if you'd like, make it a little more comfortable if you have it below you. And the next is when I turn it off, or if you want to check actually what you've played, you just turn this button back to media, and then it'll actually come up with all the different videos that are stored on the camera. So let's say you finished your concert, you just flip this little video screen up, and then you press in, and there's 2 of these cards. These are 256 gigs. It usually starts recording on the A card, but if you use up that space, which you're going to have a hard time doing because that's a lot of space, you can always pull out the B card by pushing it in and then taking it out. Remember, don't try to pull it out. Initially, you got to push it in to eject it, and then you pull it out, and then put that little screen cover back on. So for the camera batteries, you got 2 options in the case. There's 2 of these, which are just simply power cords. You plug them into the wall, and then you're actually going to plug them into the camera using this side port right here. And you'll simply plug this into there if you don't want to use the battery. If you do want to use the battery, you can charge them whether you plug it in here off the camera and you want to charge just directly using the camera, or there's this which plugs into the wall with that little back outlet. You can simply take the battery off and then slide it in there the same way that we slid it on the camera while it's on the wall, and that'll charge it too. So to break down the stand, all you're going to do is press in on these little clips, and that will allow these legs to fold up the way that it came. And then just undo all the latches so that the legs retract down. And then loosen this up so that the middle part is up high. And now it's as compact as possible. And then make sure that you put this little bag, felt bag, on top of the central part so that we can protect it from damage as much as possible. And then put back in the bag. And these all go in the black duffel bag. All right, something that is worth taking a moment to learn how to do better is what we call cable wrapping. This helps keep the cables in top shape. What we don't want to do is the pirate thing where we're wrapping around our arm. What that causes is internal binding, and eventually the cables stop working because there's a short in it. So what you want to do is take the cable, and I put it in my left hand, and I'm simply going to do one loop, regular, and then as I keep it in my thumb, I'm simply going to twist my hand under and then connect my hands and just grab that loop. And then I'm going to try to match these loops and make them the same size. So again, regular loop, follow it with my thumb, I'm going to wrap it in, connect the hands, and grab with the hand that was already holding. This allows us to keep these cables in tip-top shape so that we don't have to order more and buy more and have audio issues on the gig. And then also there's a little Velcro tie which will help keep it nice and organized. There you go. So that's how you do cable wrapping. All right, next, just a heads up about this. We got this nice GoPro, and so it's hooked up with this mount, and so that mount, you can attach it to the regular camera mount that works for the big tripod, and mount it on here because we do have 3 tripods, so one for both of the nice cameras and one for the GoPro as well. We've also got this handy dandy claw thing where this mount will simply snap in, and then you can just bend this and attach it to things, put it on instruments, put it on walls, whatever you want. It's really convenient. To undo it, you simply press the button on the back. All right, to show you just a little bit about how to use the GoPro, because it can be a little bit finicky. It's really intuitive after you've used it. So press on the side for power. That should turn it on. And then you can press that side button again to change the modes to things like camera and to time lapse and back to video. Then to start recording, simply press the top button once. It starts recording, and you can see there's a nice screen with a red light flashing on the front so that you can see yourself as well. And then to stop, simply press it again. To shut it down, or you can obviously go in settings. It is a touch screen, so if you want to go in and do your time, make it wider, lower, higher resolution, whatever you want to do, you can play around with it and do that. To turn it off, simply hold that side button again. There you go. And so you've taken your video, it's on there. Now to open this up, this is one of the big kind of tricks, I'd hate to say, but you can really damage it if you don't do it right. On the right side, so the side that's you're on the back of, you pull down on this little tab right here, and it takes a little force, and then you pull out. And that should open up the side. And that's going to allow you to locate, first of all, the battery. So if you need to change out batteries, we'll talk about that in a second. But there's also the SD micro card. So to get that out, just like the other SD cards, you want to push it in first. And that'll eject it. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. So you're going to push it in. And then it comes out easily. You should never have to pull or really use a lot of strength to get these out. Then you can put this into, if you have a slot for micro SD on your computer, great. If not, you can go into the side pocket, and there is a little pouch right here that has a micro to regular SD. And so all you have to do is insert it into there, and then you have a regular SD size that you can use with your computer. In regards to the batteries, we have a charger. So this is the charger. It can charge up to 2 at a time. Simply make sure that you're putting the right end on the right side. You put it in there, and there's a little USB cable that can either plug into a wall outlet or your computer or whatever. It'll start charging. I think it blinks yellow for charging, and then it stays green once it's finished charging. We have, I think, 3 or 4 of these, so you can use them as much as you need and have a lot of power left over. Yeah, and that should tell us all we need to know about the GoPro. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about are the lights. So the light stands, and this will go as quick as I can. Come out, real simple. Expose the legs. Then you've got several adjustments here, which I'll get this high enough to be in the camera. There we go. Next, in one of these square bags, you're going to have the actual light part. And that's just going to clamp on there. And then you've got a power cable, one for each. And then we're going to plug into the back right here. And then we're going to switch to the 1, and that's going to mean that it's on. Next, we're going to open up our little panels so that we can see the light. And obviously face it wherever you want. So on the back are adjustments. I'll put my hand out so that you can maybe see. So this knob right here, you can press it in and out, and that's going to give you a white and then a colored light. So you're just pressing it in and out. All right, there we go. And sometimes, like I just pressed mode there, you just have to kind of know if nothing's going on after a couple seconds. Press mode, and that'll let you start adjusting it. So this knob right here, if I adjust it and it's in the color setting, you'll see that it gives us various shades of the RGB. And then this knob right here on the left gives us various brightnesses. So very, very adjustable, can get very, very bright. If you want to go white light, you simply press that button on the right end. And what that does is it turns it from that color to a white light. And then if you want to adjust on that right knob, you can turn it from really blue white to a more red natural light, and anywhere in between. And then that was that knob. And then this knob is just about getting it brighter, sorry, not louder, getting it brighter or dimmer. And that's how you use the light. Make sure that you turn it off after you do. If you turn it to this side, it won't work. So make sure you always press the power to the right side. There's a little 1 on it, and that's for the outlet power.